Are there any other speakers? Member for Fannie Bay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm really happy to be standing here today to talk about these reforms. If you'd just indulge me for one moment, I just wanted to read out some details from the red card policy from the former Labor government, and it's about managing antisocial behaviour. So the statement says that the Department of Territory, Families, Housing and Communities takes public housing safety seriously and has a public housing safety strategy in place to promote community safety in and around public housing. As a part of this strategy, the department has a red card policy to help manage antisocial behaviour in and around public housing only. The red card policy allows the department, represented by public housing safety officers, to respond and investigate complaints of antisocial behaviour in public housing tenancies in a consistent manner, and take action against tenants who regularly or seriously interfere with the peace and safety of other tenants, neighbours and those in the vicinity. That was the former Labor government's managing antisocial behaviour red card policy. So if this process allows people to acquire 6 demerit points before initiation and action to terminate, how is it that we have tenants in these properties that are getting up to 60 demerit points, destroying the lives of people in their surrounding areas and still able to stay in those properties? How is that happening, Madam Speaker? How is somebody that has a $40,000 debt able to remain in public housing? How is it that someone that fails to maintain their property is able to stay in public housing? Somebody that continually threatens residents, somebody that continually contributes or attracts antisocial behaviour, somebody that ends up being incarcerated for a long sentence is able to maintain their tenancy. When law-abiding, respectful and well-behaved tenants are continually threatened, we continue to see examples of how the former government put the rights of criminals and people that are not a law-abiding citizen above the rights of victims. We all know that shelter is one of the most basic and fundamental human needs, and we've heard people in this chamber talk about how housing may have supported people on a different path than incarceration. We have community standards, Madam Speaker, and there has been a failure, a very big failure over the last 8 years of the former government to understand, to make sure that the community understands what standards are. For all of the dollars that the former government sent out to people in the Northern Territory, to communities in the Northern Territory, to departments in the Northern Territory, they have failed to ensure that every member in the community understands the needs for basic standards. Simple standards learnt in the early stages of education can help children grow into responsible, mature adults that then take up tenancies in our public housing system. We don't have kids going to school anymore. School attendance is not a priority for the former Labor government. It is a priority for ours. If a child goes to school, they learn the basic needs, basic rights, the basic reason for washing their hands, for cleaning up after themselves, for being respectful to other people. But we have attendance across the Northern Territory reducing and reducing, meaning that they're not learning those standards. Those standards support growth in people's abilities to look after themselves and look after the tenancies that they maintain. I find it very, very interesting that the member for 𝒂𝒑 talked about education and the importance of getting the community ready to be able to take on these tenancies. That includes making sure children attend school. It includes making sure parents understand that their children need to attend school. Under the last 8 years, the education in the Territory has fallen so far, and I am very, very keen to see this be escalated as a priority again to make sure that children are attending school and learning these needs and these skills to be able to live well in the Northern Territory. We have so much to offer here in the Territory, and all it takes is some lift in education standards, education attendance and growth across the Northern Territory to understand that we all need to live together. I have so many residents in the Fannie Bay electorate that live alongside public housing tenants. I have people come into my electorate office every day complaining about public housing tenants. These are people that have lived there for 20, 30 years, failing to maintain their properties, failing to understand how to respect their neighbours. As a government, we simply need to ensure that people are living to a standard that people expect. We want people to understand that you need to respect your neighbour, no matter who it is. And that's why I support these government reforms. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yeah.